All right, guys. Welcome to WMMA Scene Report. Got a lot to talk about. We got fight reviews, or the weekend review, a lot of news, and then we're going to go to the big long weekend preview. A couple big events coming up this weekend from Invicta. UFC has a pay-per-view with 5 fights on it, 5 women's fights on it, and then Deep Jewels is Sunday morning, or like early Sunday morning. So let's get started. So first off, last Friday we had Combate Peru. Going to read through the results here. First ladies fight. Gonzalez Araneda defeated Dana Grau via submission, armbar submission. Minute and 23 seconds of the first round. Araneda climbed 12-5. Grau climbed fell to 2-1. Looks like I didn't actually see this one. I watched the event off and on. Looks like a mismatch in favor of the Peruvian fighter, which brings me to the main event, or what ended up being the main event. Maria Buzaglo defeated Alitzel Mariscal via split decision. For some reason, they had Mariscal fighting at strawweight, even though her last 2 fights were at atomweight. I think they really wanted to give local girl, what's her name, Buzaglo, a big win in Peru. So another mismatch there by Combate. The more I see a Combate, the less I like. I'll still cover the fighters, but I'm still pretty pissed off at some stuff that they've been doing lately. Next up was, what else was that weekend? UFC on ESPN Plus number 11, aka Gustafsson versus Smith, aka Fight Night Stockholm. This was Saturday. First, Bia Malecki defeated Duda Santana via submission due to rear naked choke at 1 minute and 59 seconds of round 2. Not a good fight here, guys. Not a lot of skill on display. This was at 135, although Malecki was in the 145 tough. I'm amazed she could make 135, or I think she weighed in at 136. Santana won the entire first round and then went for a poor takedown attempt that was immediately reversed by Malecki, who went to mount and then got the rear naked choke. It's just not good. Like, I'm really wish UFC would not sign fighters who so obviously don't belong there, especially in the women's divisions, because it makes them look that bad. And then also, Lena Landsberg defeated Tanya Evinger by unanimous decision. Good win for Lena Landsberg. She displayed everything she's usually known for. She did good clinch work, very nice elbows, left Tanya Evinger a pretty bloody mess by the end of the fight. So good job by Landsberg there. Evinger, though, 3 straight losses, I believe, now in the UFC. Of course, one of them was the Cyborg. Can't hold that against her. But, yeah, it's not looking good for Evinger in the UFC right now. Do not be surprised if she gets cut, although they may feed her to one more prospect. And then finally, Ryzen 16 was early Sunday morning. Had 2 ladies fights, both of them near the top there. Miyu Yamamoto defeated Kon Asakura by unanimous decision. I thought Kon Asakura had the better first round, but of course it's a whole fight, and Yamamoto was able to really control where the fight went in the second and third. Dominated via superior strength and superior wrestling skill. So Yamamoto climbed to 5-3. Asakura fell to 14-4. You know, I said in my review video that they need to be careful how they book Asakura from now on, because, you know, she's getting too good for these squash matches that they always want to give her, but she's not good enough for either elite level wrestlers or elite, you know, well-rounded fighters. So they're going to have to be careful how they book her. Yamamoto, it'd be interesting to see how they match her up next time. And then Ayaka Hamasaki defeated Jinyu Fry via unanimous decision. I did a review video on this. I thought that it exposed some flaws and some holes in the whole fight scoring process, especially if you take damage into account, which I'm told it's supposed to. Then I thought Jin did more damage versus Hamasaki. Either way, Hamasaki won. She's now 2-0 versus Jin Yu Fry. Cemented herself as #1 in the atomweight division. Although Sahiyama, I think, is knocking on her door for a third fight. Hamasaki does have 2 wins over Ham. Last one was way back in 2011, so 8 years ago. That fight might happen as early as next month because Ham was at Ryzen and said that she wants to fight for them. So in the July event, so we'll see. And then finally, out of fight news from this past weekend, Cheyenne Vlismas, UFC or Invicta veteran, defeated Lindsay Garbat via unanimous decision at BTC 6 Night of Champions. Vlismas is now the interim champion for BTC. She was supposed to take on the actual champion, but the actual champion, whose name escapes me right now, withdrew due to injury. Okay, so now that we've gone over this past weekend's fights, let's go into the fight reviews. First up, Invicta FC and UFC veteran and also BKFC veteran, Bec Rawlings has announced that she is now signed with Bellator to compete in the flyweight division. This was confirmed via her management's social media. So it'll be interesting to see how they match her up in Bellator. I think Bec's a good fit for them. She wants to brawl, so they'll probably match her up with someone that will brawl with her. So it should be a good fit. Next up, Ashley Evans Smith versus Taylor Santos, added to UFC Uruguay August 10th. I know Santos had 1 fight in UFC, but darn if I can remember it. 2 bouts announced for CFFC 76 June 14th that will air on UFC Fight Pass. At 115 pounds, we have Jamie Colleen, 4-3, taking on Marcela Giantomasi Aguiar, 2-2. And then at 125, we have the return of Erin Blanchfield versus 3-1, and she is taking on Gabriella Golfin, who is 2-0. So check that out, June 14th. That is next Friday on UFC Fight Pass. Also, Aspen Ladd versus Jermaine Durandamy has been slated for UFC Sacramento main event. That should be an interesting matchup. I believe Ladd is like now number 4 in the bantamweight rankings for some reason, even though she hasn't beaten a single top 10 fighter, or anybody currently in the top 10 at least. And then Jermaine Durandamy is probably the number 1 or number 2 contender at bantamweight. This will be an interesting fight, guys. If Ladd gets a takedown, I think she wins. If Durandamy can stop the takedowns, then she'll definitely get the win, because Ladd's striking, as shown in her last fight, is not up to Durandamy's par. Also announced for the UFC, Cyborg versus Felicia Spencer is close to being finalized. I don't know if I haven't seen if it's been official yet, for UFC 240's co-main event, and that's in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, July 27th. Also, Felicia Magellan, who is a training partner of Jin Yu Fry out of Team Genesis in Texas, has signed with Combate Americas to take on Karen Cedillo July 12th in Texas. So good luck to both of those ladies. Also, Kaylee Cutler, 6-6 versus, okay, going to sound this one out, Barchanaya Uzgenbaeva, 4-1, has been booked for WXC Warrior Wednesday 4. And that is Wednesday, July 3rd on Fight Pass. Some midweek MMA. Hey, I'm happy for it. And I've never actually seen Uzgenbaeva fight. I follow her on Instagram. So that'll be interesting. Look for her to possibly be signed to the UFC if she wins. Or UFC might be keeping an eye on her, which is why that is being booked for a Fight Pass event. Because she's coming all the way over from Kyrgyzstan. Got to be a good reason for them to be flying her out from Kyrgyzstan to fight on a Wednesday WXC event. So, yeah, keep that in mind, guys. Rowan Pilger, 2-0, is replacing the debuting Seon Hong at Road FC 54 next weekend, June 15th. She is taking on debutante Hajan Park. Hong had to withdraw due to, I believe, an ankle injury. Pilger has perfect 2-0 record in Road FC. She is an ESL teacher in Korea, also part-time fighter. So looking forward to that next weekend. Next, Combate Americas announced its first bantamweight fight for its Tucson event in June 28th. Brenda Gonzalez, 9-4, is taking on Marilia Fanta at 3-0. So Combate expanding its women's divisions to bantamweight now. So good for Combate, good for ladies on the Latin American circuit. Big news, Leslie Smith, who was signed to Bellator. Her debut has been announced. She's taking on Sinead Kavanaugh at Bellator 224, July 12th. That's in Thackerville, Oklahoma. The event is headlined by Olga Rubin challenging what's her name, Julia Budd, for her featherweight title. So I think that's a good matchup for Smith and Kavanaugh. They're both brawlers, so expect a lot of swinging and praying, I guess you could say. And then finally, Julia Avila versus Melissa Gatto added to UFC 239 in Las Vegas, July 6th. This will be Julia Avila's UFC debut. We last saw her in Invicta, winning via TKO victory. So good luck to Julia in her UFC debut. All right, guys, that's it for the news. So we will now move on to this weekend's upcoming fights. I'll move my browser back over to the main screen here. Sorry for the super brightness. All right, first up, Friday, there is a Combate event. I think there's only one fight on it, so not going to go into it. Instead, Friday night, Invicta FC 35, Bennett versus Rodriguez 2. We'll start at the bottom here. We have, at 115 pounds, Valerie Wong taking on Genia Gooden. Both are making their pro debut. Looking at their amateur records, Wong is coming off a win a year ago in King of the Cage. Gooden is coming off a unanimous decision win 6 months ago. I don't know either of these two. I don't really pay attention to what's going on in the amateur, so we'll see what happens there. Second fight, 105 pounds, return of Loma Lookboonmee to UFC or Invicta. She's coming in at 2-0, coming off a loss last December. And she is taking on Monique Adrienne Azevedo, who is 4-1. She's coming off a win a little over 2 months ago via TKO down in Brazil. Should be an interesting matchup. I'm always down for atomweight fights. I'm always down for a Lookboonmee fight. So we'll see how that goes. If Azevedo is good on the ground and can get the takedown, she has a very good chance against Lookboonmee, although I'm sure she's also been working on her takedown defense as well since her last fight. Next up, another 105-pound fight. Kelly D'Angelo, 3-2, taking on Jillian DeCourcy, 2-1. D'Angelo's coming off a unanimous decision win over Lindsey Van Zant 9 months ago. DeCourcy is coming off a unanimous decision loss to Alicia Zapatella. That was last July, so almost a year ago. So that's at 105. D'Angelo's also taking on Suna David's daughter at 115 pounds. She lost that, and then she lost to Chelsea Baylor at Valor Fights. But she's moved down to atomweight and doing well. Lindsey Van Zant's a nice win. Corsi coming off that loss. It's going to be a toss-up. Both of them are getting older for atom weight. 32 years for D'Angelo versus 34 for DeCourcy. I'm going to go with DeCourcy, though. I think she's more used to fighting at atom weight, and although ring rust could be a factor, so who knows? Next up at 135 pounds, Chelsea Chandler coming in 1-0, taking on Brittany Victoria. That's 135 pounds. Chandler is coming off a win over Mitzi Mary back in, I believe that was in December. And then Brittany Victoria's coming off her UFC Invicta debut. And that was in December over Sarah Klekska. I remember this girl. She was in the Chanel robe at her weigh-ins. I think this is going to go Brittany Victoria's way. Yeah, we'll go with Brittany Victoria on this one. Sorry, guys, I didn't fully prepare for. Didn't have time, honestly, to fully look at all these records and everything leading up to this. So we're just going to go through everything real quick here. Next up, 145 pounds, Caitlin Young, 9-1, taking on Faith McMahon, 6-3. McMahon, formerly known as Faith Van Duyn, she got married, I guess. Caitlin Youngs is 2-0 since coming back to MMA. She beat King Reina and Ryzen, and then won versus Sarah Patterson back in November, I think, maybe, and Invicta. Whereas McMahon, on the other hand, hasn't fought in the better part of 3 years. 2 years, 8 months ago, she lost to Irene Aldana versus KO TKO. So I know she had a kid, had put on a ton of weight, and then had to lose it all. I got to go with Caitlin Young here. She's on a roll right now, and so got to go with Caitlin Young on this one. And plus the ring rust, that's a real thing, I think, when you're coming off pregnancy too. So next up at 135 pounds, Katarina Lenner, coming off her stint at The Ultimate Fighter. It's actually coming in off of 7-1, but which doesn't count. I guess the Ultimate Fighter fight didn't count. She's taking on Lisa Battle Angel Spangler. I thought her name was the Strangler. Who is 3-0. I'm going to go with Katarina Lenner on this one. Lisa Spangler is not to be trifled with. She is 2-0 in Invicta. But I just think that Lenner is the more experienced fighter and has been in there with some pretty tough chicks herself, including Sarah Kaufman and Penny Kianzad. So I'm going to go with Lenner on that one. And then next up, back down to 115 pounds, we have Kanako Murata making her U.S. debut. She's coming in at 9-1, taking on Liana Perozin out of Brazil. Kana's won her last 5 fights, at least. Liana Perozin is coming off a win 6 months ago over Kimberly Novaes down in Brazil. Before that, she's coming off a loss to Jessica Del Boni. Looks like Perozin is the older fighter by 11 years, 36 years to 25. My initial instinct is to go with Murata. She's a very good wrestler, very tough, and I don't know anything about Perozin. Might reserve changing that before this weekend if I can find some Perozin's fights online before then. But for now, we're going with Murata. Which moves us to the co-main event, 105 pounds. Alicia Zapatella coming in 5-0, taking on the UFC veteran Viviana Pereira, 13-3. Now, Pereira is coming off a 3-fight losing streak. She lost to unanimous decision to Tatiana Suarez. And then Yan Xiaonan. And then she got cut from the UFC, came in and lost to Mizuki Inoue back in, I believe, November. Yeah, that was November. So, and now she's moving down to atomweight. This should be an interesting fight. You know, who knows how Pereira will fight at atomweight. She's normally like a bit of an outfighter, or tries to be an outfighter. Did not work out for her against Mizuki. She's actually the taller fighter for once. She's 5'1" to Zapatella's 4'11". Zapatella lives up to her name, Half Pint. I'm going to go with Zapatella on this one. She might be the smaller fighter, but man, her wrestling is top notch, especially at atomweight. And I think she's on a roll. I think she's coming in confident. So we're going to go with Zapatella on that one by unanimous decision. Which moves us to the main event, the finals of the flyweight mini tournament to decide the #1 contender. Guys, this one's a rematch. Deanna Vitamin D Bennett coming in 10-4-1, taking on Karina Rodriguez 7-3-0. Both of them are coming off, of course, a win. Bennett over Miranda Maverick, unanimous decision. And Rodriguez over Milana Dudaeva due to split decision, both at the same event. Before that, each of them is coming off a loss. Rodriguez to Deanna Bennett via split decision a little over a year ago. Bennett to Kelly Cobold via unanimous decision 8 months ago at a Tough Enough event. I forgot all about that one. Yeah, she lost to Kelly Cobold. Cobold's been around forever. So this one, you know, if you saw the last fight, Bennett won it with Wallenstahl. It was not an exciting fight. If Rodriguez can stay off the wall and stay out of the clinch with Bennett, she definitely has superior boxing credentials and striking. But Bennett's a grinder. She has embraced the grind, fortunately and unfortunately. So we'll have to see how that goes. My instinct tells me that Bennett's going to grind this one out too. But personally, I'll be cheering for Rodriguez to win. But if I have to pick, I'm going to go with Deanna Bennett. So that's it for Invicta Friday night. We'll move along to UFC 238 Saturday. This is coming from Chicago. 5 ladies fights, guys. 4 on the prelims. One of them is the co-main event. Starting at 125 is Katlyn Chookagian, 11-2, taking on Joanne Calderwood, 13-3. I think that the rangy Chookagian, who stays busy on the feet, throws a lot of volume, I think she's going to beat Joanne Calderwood in this one. I know a lot of people are hyped up on the JoJo 2.0 hype train. I don't buy it myself, at least not yet. We'll see if she gets if she can get past Chookagian, then yeah, JoJo 2.0 is a thing. But I think Chookagian being a rangy fighter who will fight on her bicycle, I think will be too much for Calderwood, who is not fast at all, who's a bit of a slow-moving fighter. So I'm going Chookagian via decision. Next up, Yan Xiaonan taking on Angela Hill at strawweight. Yan's coming in 10-1. Hill's coming in 9-6. I did a full preview video on this. Please go watch it. I'm picking Yan to win by unanimous decision. Well, Yan by decision, we'll say. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, I think she wins a split. That'd be dumb. Next up, also in strawweight, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, 12-4, taking on Alexa Grasso, 10-2. Another one I did a full preview video on. Please take the time to go and watch it. I'm picking Alexa Grasso to win by decision as well. A lot of decisions on this one. Which brings us to the prelim headliner, Tatiana Suarez at 7-0, taking on Nina Ansaroff, 10-5. At strawweight, this is like a de facto #1 contender bout, really. Suarez is coming in, huge hype, She is, I believe, the biggest betting favorite on the card. Let me check that real quick here. Makana, let's see, 230. Up here? Yeah. Suarez, yeah, she's coming in even bigger favorite than oh no, she's not the biggest favorite. She's like the second biggest favorite. Valentina Shevchenko is the biggest favorite on this card. So Suarez, a lot of hype behind Suarez, a lot of hype. A lot of people are just completely writing off on Serov, which is ridiculous considering, she's coming off a very good win over Claudia Gadelia. And honestly, you look at their last couple wins, Serov has better wins in her last few fights probably than Suarez does. It's just the way that in which Suarez wins that a lot of people are buying into the hype there. And honestly, Suarez is top-notch wrestling. I mean, there's no better wrestler than her at 115 pounds. So I get it. I'm going with Suarez. Be a unanimous decision. I don't think she's going to be able to finish Serov. And then finally, co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Ai. Ai is challenging Shevchenko for the 125-pound title. This has unanimous decision by Shevchenko written all over it. Shevchenko is coming in 16-3, Ai 14-6. It doesn't even matter. Shevchenko via decision. And in a not exciting manner, most likely. Because, well, unless you are a true technique junkie, you're not going to get excited. I'm not a real big... I like watching technical fighters, but I want to see some excitement too, which Shevchenko just doesn't really bring. She's a counter fighter. Pure counter fighter. And will not change that up even if she needs to. So, all right, so that's it for UFC 238. And then finally, there is Deep Jewels on Sunday morning. If you want to wake up early and watch it, I have to work right now, so I'll have to watch it on replay. I believe this is actually being broadcast on YouTube right now. So I think they're done with Abima, which, hey, if it's not region blocked, makes it even easier to watch because then you can go back and watch the replay anytime, whereas Abima, to watch the replays, you need a freaking subscription. We'll just go do a quick read off of these. At 106 pounds, Hikaru Ano, 3-2, taking on Mikiko Hayama, 0-5. That's a gimme for Ano. I think the main... I don't know why they don't have this as the main event. I think it is. Rin Nakai, 20-2. 22-1. Or 20-2-1. Taking on Kujai Prachimwong out of Thailand, who is 0-2. This is a gimme fight for Rin Nakai. She's been out for a while. Complete gimme fight, squash fight. Main card also... Sei Kokuo, 0-1, taking on Otoa Nagao, making her pro debut. Don't know either of them. 97 pounds. Oh, that's at super atom weight, 108 pounds. Next up, we have a 97-pound fight. Momoko Yamazaki, 0-1, taking on Ai Takai, who is 1-1. Rare sub-atom weight card fight. I don't even know what you call that division. Keep in mind, guys, all but two of these fights are 2-rounders. The Nakai fight and the main event fight are 3-rounders. Next up, we're going all the way up to 115 pounds. Izumi Noguchi, 6-9-1, taking on Ayako Miyata, who is 1-1. I think that's going to be a win for Jet Izumi. Moving down to 112 pounds. This is a catch weight. I'm not sure why. Nanaka Kawamura, 2-3. The Idol girl fighter. She belongs to that music group with the masked girls. She is taking on Mao, who is 1-2. And then at 115 pounds, strawweight, Mika Nagano coming in 16-11-1, taking on Miki Motono 1-0. That's a gimme for Nagano. That's the kind of crap that pisses me off about JMMA, and really a lot of Asian MMA in general. And then finally, currently listed as the main event, Emi Tomomatsu coming in 14-14, taking on the much less experienced Emi Sato 4-3. Sato is a late replacement for, I forget who she was replacing. So that's it for Deep Jewels 24th event for Deep Jewels. Go check out the page on Tapology. The fight poster is really cool. It has all the girls as like little cartoon characters. They've been running that series for a little while. It's really neat, and it tells you a lot about each fighter just by how they drew the little cartoon characters. It's really, really neat, really cute, and it's something totally different in MMA. So, guys, that's it for for everything. No discussion topic tonight. Too busy to really prepare one again. Sorry about that. This is what, episode 25 of the WMMA Scene Report. So hey, we made it 25 shows in now. Thanks to everyone who watches these. It's not a lot, but hey, it gets the job done. I know I didn't do one last week. There just wasn't enough to talk about last week. There was hardly any events the weekend before, and there wasn't a whole lot to talk about last weekend either. Just UFC Stockholm, really. So we'll try to keep this a weekly thing from now on. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, guys, I'm out tonight. I'm tired. Sorry for not starting at the scheduled time and then changing it. I fell asleep when I came home from work, so I'm about to go back to sleep, get some sleep. So thank you for tuning in. And in the meantime, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the best, fastest growing women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. And we'll see you next time.